Monster High by Mattel, the makers of Barbie, began development in early 2007 and debuted in 2010. The line of fashion dolls features the children of legendary monsters from the Grim Reaper's daughter to the Abominable Snowman's daughter. Holla holla, Clawdeen and I here, and today we're discussing 15 mind-blowing facts about Monster High you never realized growing up. Did you know Draculaura is adopted? Before we get started, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, turn on notifications, and subscribe so you never miss the tea on the toys you love. Now, let's dive in. Number 1. Garrett Sander didn't create the original Monster High sculpts. You may be shocked to hear Monster High's creator, Garrett Sander, didn't actually create the original Monster High sculpts and designs. I discussed this more in my Unreleased Monster High video, which you can check out in the description below. According to Lily Martinez, who also worked on My Scene and Barbie, Lily revealed on my Instagram photo in which I cosplay Laguna Blue, stating, "I actually designed all 5 original Monster High head, face sculpts and bodies, in collaboration with some very talented sculptors at Mattel based on a story idea by some packaging designers. Laguna is also one of my favorites because I designed her from head to toe. Thin, LOL. Fashion and accessories. The other girls' fashions were designed by my design team at the time with art direction by me." She doesn't mention Garrett at all in this statement, but she does say based on a story idea by some packaging designers. Garrett is famously known for working as a packaging designer at Mattel before creating Monster High, so it's possible Lily is referencing Garrett as part of the packaging team that came up with the story. What do you think of this? Number 2. Cleo Denial is afraid of the dark. She's the mummy you know and love. Cleo Denial, who started as Monster High's mean girl, quickly became a misunderstood ghoul with a heart of gold, often used as comical relief.
Talk is cheap, not unlike Torlei's earrings. I have never been more angry to buy things in my life.
According to her bio, Cleo's freaky flaw is her fear of the dark. Yes, she's a monster who's afraid of the dark. But did you know it's because of a traumatic experience that happened while she was still alive? In 2014, Monster High introduced the Gloom and Bloom doll collection, which debuted the character Amanita Nightshade. Cleo's doll was exclusive to Target and is one of the most sought-after Monster High dolls today. In her Gloom and Bloom diary, Cleo reveals that before she died, her uncle stormed her family's palace as a way to take over the throne. The diary explains that Cleo, her father, and her sister Nephra were forced into hiding and wrapped with magical wrappings to preserve their bodies. In layman's, this is how they became mummies. But most shocking and heartbreaking, Cleo explains that her mother didn't make it to them in time, and Cleo still doesn't know if her mother is alive or dead. An excerpt from the diary reads, "It is so dark I cannot tell up from down, left from right. It was like a weight on my chest, like the air was being sucked out of me. I sit up and start to panic. As I try to catch my breath, I feel a hand grab my shoulder. I scream and try to run." To summarize, being in the dark likely triggers Cleo to be reminded of this traumatic experience in which her and her family were not only forced out of her kingdom and mummified, but it's how she lost her mother. Side note, did you know Monster High's creators revealed how Ghoulia became a zombie? Stay tuned as I'll discuss that in a moment. Number 3. Monster High dolls leaked every year on Swagbucks. Did you know from the years of 2011 up until as recently as 2017, new Monster High dolls leaked annually on rewards and loyalty program website Swagbucks? Yep, you heard me right. That website you used in middle school because you thought you'd make money off of taking surveys. Mattel used Swagbucks as a way to get feedback from a targeted demographic of people. The only way to be suggested the annual Monster High Swagbucks survey was, well, basically to make yourself a Karen. Mattel wanted the opinion of mothers aged 24 to 36 to gauge the opinions of parents before dolls were released. Technically, surveys on Swagbucks were confidential, and you agree that you aren't going to screenshot any of the unreleased products shown during the survey. But of course, people did what they wanted because there wasn't any real consequence to screenshotting the pictures of unreleased dolls. Swagbucks surveys leaked dolls approximately 4 to 6 months prior to a doll's release, similarly to the way dolls leak today. Many fans question whether Mattel intentionally used Swagbucks as a way to leak new lines, because despite leaks happening every single time a new survey came out, Mattel continued to use Swagbucks as a consumer testing website. Do you remember the Swagbucks surveys by Mattel? Number 4. Who is Casta de Fierce the daughter of? This green goddess wasn't released until fall of 2014 as part of Monster High's special edition doll lineup, following the success of 2013's Catty Noir. Casta de Fierce's real name is Casta Caldronello, and if if you thought she's daughter of the witch, you'd be wrong. She also isn't related to the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz, despite bearing a striking resemblance, and are both known for their wicked musical talents. Casta is actually the daughter of Circe. If you follow Greek mythology, you know Circe is an enchantress and is known for her vast knowledge of potions and herbs. It's possible Mattel decided to make her the daughter of Circe to avoid copyright issues with MGA Entertainment and their line of high school witches, Bratzillas. Or maybe someone on the Mattel team just really loved Greek mythology. Cupid is the daughter of Eros, Zeus is the son of Medusa, and Viperine is the daughter of Sathanos, so it's clear Mattel has a thing for Greek mythology. Number 5. Draculaura is adopted. If you know Draculaura is actually adopted, you're an OG. In 2011, Mattel introduced a Draculaura and Clawdeen 2-pack known as the Forbidden Love gift set. This version of Draculaura includes her second journal, and an entry written on October 12th states, "The rest of the story, like how father took me in and my mother when no one else would, and why I'm a vegan vampire, I'm going to save for the screenplay, which I would like to film in pink and white." The part about filming in pink and white could be alluding to Garrett Sanders' original plan to make a Comic-Con Draculaura in pink and white to match black and white Frankie. But that's another story for another time. The sentence, "how father took in me and my mother when no one else would," implies Dracula isn't Draculaura's biological father, but in fact housed her and her mother while the two were homeless. Elaborating on this, in 2016, Mattel released Collector Draculaura, which gives an even deeper look into Draculaura's backstory through her journal. Draculaura was born around the time 400 AD as the daughter of Camilla and Gaius, a Roman soldier who was killed in battle before Draculaura was born. Dracula offered to house Camilla and her unborn child in honor of Gaius, who was once Dracula's companion, and Camilla decides to name her daughter Draculaura after Dracula for allowing her to stay with him. Dracula goes on a business trip, and during this time, the plague sweeps their village. Both Camilla and Draculaura become deathly ill, and Camilla dies before Dracula has a chance to save her. Dracula turned Draculaura into a vampire as a way to save her, which made Draculaura an immortal. So yeah, while Dracula isn't biologically related to Draculaura, she makes it very clear that he is her father, and as someone who is adopted, I feel it's great representation to know one of the franchise's most recognizable and popular characters is adopted. Similarly to Draculaura, I'll be discussing how Ghoulia Yelps became a zombie later in this video, so keep on watching. Unrelated, but an interesting fact, it's revealed in Collector Draculaura's diary that her native language is Latin. Number 6. The plot to Freaky Fusion was changed several times. We know Freaky Fusion to be the movie in which Frankie and the ghouls try to uncover secrets about Frankie's heritage, but things go awry when Toralai's curiosity gets the best of her and they're all transported back in time, which eventually leads to them being fused together. But the original plot for the story was somewhat different. In the original plot to Freaky Fusion, the ghouls are transported to the 1950s and they meet Frankie's dad, Frankenstein, a bad boy with anger issues, who resembles that of Danny Zuko from the movie Grease. Sketches leaked of concept art for the movie which showcase what appears to be a gender-bent Venus McFlytrap and Twyla, as well as a gender-bent Abby Abominable. Additionally, fusions of a werewolf spider, werecat and sea monster, and a mummy and centaur. The 50s concept was scrapped and instead became the movie we know today. Number 7. Frankie is technically a mom. So we know stories of how Frankie was made. Her grandfather Victor Frankenstein created her father Frankenstein, who later, with her mother, the bride of Frankenstein, created Frankie, which makes Frankie their daughter. Well, Frankie has created a few monsters in her time at Monster High, from Snap, who we are going to pretend doesn't exist because the reboot never happened, to the gingerbread boy, who Frankie created with Jackson Jekyll in the episode Home Ick. One of Frankie's most notable creations is Hoodooed Voodoo, who is made as a love interest to Frankie when she's embarrassed she doesn't have a boyfriend. Hoodooed makes several appearances throughout the Monster High franchise and even had an SDCC doll created in his likeness. Since Frankie, along with all her creations, are simulacrums, which means artificial beings, she isn't technically their mom, and their relation to her is whatever she creates them to be. But by the logic that Frankie's parents made her, which makes them her parents, one might say Frankie is the parent to all her creations. Number 8. Cleo and Clawdeen are voiced by the same person. You know Cleo and Clawdeen as the iconic alphas of the Monster High Ghoul Gang. Both characters have great leadership skills and are popular amongst fans. But did you know both Cleo and Clawdeen are voiced by the same voice actress? Sally Safiotti, who goes under the alias Celeste Henderson, voices both Clawdeen and Cleo, and has since the beginning of the franchise. Fun fact, Clawdeen's sister, Howleen Wolf, is voiced by America Young, who also voices Toralei Stripe, and now Barbie. Clawdeen's name was originally Howleen. Speaking of Clawdeen, before Howleen was the name of her little sister, Clawdeen's name was originally going to be Howleen. Mattel trademarked the name back in 2007 when Monster High was originally in its developmental stages, and Garrett Sanders shared photos of Monster High prototypes, and this user in the comments pointed out that this prototype is technically when her name was still Howleen Wolf. How different would it have been if her name stayed? Would I be Howleena 9? Number 9. Howleen Wolf is Monster High's youngest student. Speaking of our ghoul Howleen, she is technically, as far as we know, Monster High's youngest student. Both her and Twyla are 14 years old, but Twyla is born on October 1st, while Howleen was born December 21st. So technically, Howleen is a little over 2 months younger than Twyla. Number 10. Kieran and Valentine was going to be Monster High's first gay character. Valentine is the main antagonist of Monster High's 2012 feature film, Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love? And we get some LGBTQ+ hints in the animated movie, which I'll reveal in a bit. But it wasn't until last year that creator Garrett Sanders revealed on his Instagram that Valentine was going to be the franchise's first gay character. The original plan was to have him come out in his SDCC diary, which makes sense seeing as SDCC exclusive dolls are more adult collector geared, and so the designers can include things that otherwise would be subject to retail store approval. Mattel's executives told him that it wasn't the right time, and they removed any official statements that indicated Valentine was gay. However, there are still hints in the diary that allude Valentine's love interest was Casta de Fierce's brother, Speldon. Number 11. Slomo and Mannys first dance. Did you miss the boy-on-boy dance moment in Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love? When Toralei grabs hold of Cupid's arrow and uses it to ruin Draculaura's party, Toralei must have shot Manny and Slomo simultaneously, as the two are seen dancing together romantically for a split second during the scene in which Clawdeen has developed a plot to save the school from Toralei's chaos. Number 12. Slomo the Werewolf. In lieu of Slomo, he and Heath were highly requested by fans since they were both featured heavily in the Monster High webisodes. Slomo eventually got his doll debut in 2014 for the Ghoul Spirit doll line, and this may be a factory error, but some of the first Slomo dolls had clawed hands instead of the ones seen in the future releases. What do you think of Slomo with sharp nails? If you have one with clawed hands, let us know below. Number 13. Name changes. Honey Swamp and Sculita Calaveras are pivotal dolls created in the Monster High universe as they had cultural significance. Sculita being representation for Mexican culture and Honey Swamp having Afro texture hair. But did you know Honey Swamp was originally going to be named Alligator? According to her clapboard shown at Comic-Con, Honey Swamp's name was originally going to be Alligator, but it was changed to Honey Swamp, likely for legal reasons. A stamp on Sculita's head reveals that it's possible her name was originally Katrina. Katrina is a symbol of El Dia de los Muertos, which is the inspiration in creating Sculita. Number 14. Cheekbone problems. Did you know that following her initial release, Spectra Vondergeist got a new sculpt? According to Garrett Sanders' Instagram story, one of Mattel executives said Spectra's face was too severe and wanted them to make her cheekbones less prominent, so they did. But Garrett revealed sculptors later switched back to her original sculpt silently and secretly. How naughty, but also I love that they did this because just look at those cheeks. Number 15. Ghoulia never died. While many monsters at Monster High have tragic backstories like Draculaura, Cleo, and Spectra, who have all been revealed to have once been alive and then died, one ghoul is confirmed to have been born a monster. During a panel at San Diego Comic-Con, the Monster High team revealed that Ghoulia Yelps, a zombie, was born a zombie.
They were born zombies. Yeah, Ghoulia was born a zombie. She was born a zombie. She has a zombie mom and a zombie dad, and was a zombie toddler.
This is corroborated by Garrett's Instagram, in which he confirms that some monsters were born that way and some have died. While there isn't much logic in that she was born a baby zombie, yet continues to age into her teenage years, perhaps this explains why Ghoulia doesn't fall apart or deteriorate. I'm not mad at it. I love Ghoulia enough that I'll believe anything they tell me, no matter how absurd. If you enjoyed today's video, you'll love my new Unreleased Monster High video coming soon. We got our hands on some Unreleased Monster High prototypes you don't want to miss. Be sure to click subscribe, turn on notifications, and hit thumbs up so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching. See ya!